Okay, apparently we are good to go again. Having to restart everything is pretty much a pain in the arse, really. Sorry about that. Um, just checking the browser now. Sorry. Anyway, I believe that it's working. I have no reason to suggest it's not working, but yeah. Says I'm live on the app, and I can hear myself on the phone. Oops. Just like that. You see that? That's how you prove that it's working when you haven't got any friends. Unlike Jared Dines, who, what a lad, has got over 100 people watching him do essentially nothing, which is still probably more entertaining than watching me do this. I don't know, let's disagree with that, just be positive. Nothing against Jared Dines, because he's cool. So yeah, managed to track that far too loud piano part whilst this machine was doing its restart. So I've got a guitar and just that sounds terrible, really. Yeah. What I wanted to do was see if this is still on. Which, no, it's not. Yep, getting carried away with mucking about the drums because I got a desk that I can do that on whilst you look at my butt, which is probably not great, but I did have a camera on that and it ain't working now because it's a battery hog. But essentially, the last bit of this process that I wanted to just to do was have a go at maybe making this guitar a lot softer. For a start, and maybe that's partly because they're just not processed at all. as a rough guess. Let's give it a rough guess that there's no processing on them. The temptation is to want to use, the desk I've got behind me, but again, it's there's 1,000 ways to boil this egg, and sometimes free stuff is cool. It's Blue Cat free amp. Um, it's a hell of a doozy, really. I mean, it just adds so much character. So much characters. So many characters. Uh, ding ding dang ding. Too many characters. If I just put that on the piano. No, I haven't. There you go. Get rid of all the treble. That's ridiculous. There's hiss you can hear. That's just tough poop. What happened there? See, the thing I love about Reaper, just saying, is that if at any point everything disappears and you're like, undo will usually undo that, oddly. But yeah, the levels of undo are great, and I'm just gonna keep it pro. I'm plugging my laptop in and moving the camera all over the place, adding a bit more hum to the thing. Right, well yeah, you've got a bit more gain than you had. I've shaped overall a bit more of the mid-range and lost a bit of treble on those guitars because they are annoyingly shrill, horrible things, aren't they, guitars, really? You just need to hold on a sec there. So yeah, I'm just going to use the way it was recorded as an arrangement for it. It's how I work. I make a lot of very arbitrary decisions that got nothing to do with anything. 90% of the time, most of what I end up recording is called untitled until I have to upload it. And I'm being honest about that because I don't see any other way of being. I can't read a solitary thing. No, it's not really a noise gate I want specifically, it's just a gate, regate. Because there is filth I can hear on my, deep in the bowels of my studio here. It's filthy, but it's real. There's analog stuff going on, but I don't really I want to minimise the filth that's actually recorded on the guitar, or recorded on the tracks. gate will do that for you in lieu of proper expensive gear. These proper free plugins. So my V-drum module on those two channels of the mixer behind me, which you'd be able to see if the camera hadn't run out of batteries, that'll be on channel 1 and 2. Now this thing is a guitar part. There's bass. Okay, well look, let's just separate it out. Give the guitar the usual output that it has. And then it goes to this one as well, the one with the amp on it. A shot of it in the master mix so that it ends up out on the board on those two channels. Same with the pianos. That will get put on the same two channels I like to use for the thingy, which is what it would land on anyway, you know, those channels of the board, 5 and 6. So bass wants to really come out just after the drums. So I'll put it out on, I mean, Christ, it doesn't actually matter, does it? Sorry, I'm getting tired and annoyed with myself. 1 and 2 go to there and there, over there, so is that right? Track 4. No, that was something else. Alright, no. I'm confusing myself now, because it's not difficult when you're a bear of dirty little brain. Analog 1 and 2. And now it's gone. So now everything that is audible from this session is happening on this desk behind me. Which you can't see without there being a camera on it, but obviously that's ridiculously heavy and distorted because I've got it going through loads of other stuff as well, which is it gives you the option to use additional filters. You might elect not to do. always use a little bit of extra EQ when you're shaping a bass. There's nothing wrong with it. Just have to be careful that you don't end up trying to kill everyone with bass. Some sort of certainly helps if you've got a outboard delay with tap tempo. If you can't remember your own arrangement. And that's, you know, the temptation to have that up too loud is always strong. It really is. So, the name of the game there, then, is once you've established a groovy little set of tricks and things you want to do with the stuff you've recorded, if you've actually recorded an arrangement and an actual song, then it'll be even better than that, because, you know, you can jam out some ideas with this, but, you know, there's more to it than I'm saying there is. As with everything. Another disclaimer. So then, I've got channels 3 and 4 happening. So if I record now, I'm gonna be recording the sound of what I'm doing with the mixing desk over here. Yeah, alright, you know. Not and there you go. That's like, you know, one pass. Best solo. I can save that. Sounds alright. So yeah, as we move, uh, that's a start, really. It's a rinky-dink dinky start. I've got a mute button for that. Oh yeah. Uh, but that's not really. I mean, it's just a start. We've got what have we got here? Loads of things that we like. So now that we've done a little analog board mix of that, there's nothing stopping us from just deep diving into it and ruining it all completely over again from scratch. Because as much as I love the sound of a very simple and free bass synth, I think it could be argued that I'm quite familiar with other things as well. I mean, that does sound good. Don't get me wrong. That's not like, you know. But for demonstration, I mean, actually listening to it like that, kind of, it shows up that the tracking isn't great, and there's a whole world of, there's a lot of people that would just colour me a moron for even letting that appear. But you know, once it's in the mix, you don't have to be a virtuoso to get it down. You just have to be able to accept criticism if you did it yourself and you're fallible, or that you know you spent a great deal of time editing stuff to make it absolutely perfect, you know, like you're supposed to. Anyway, I've waffled on and created another bait. I mean, this is the reason thing. I don't know why I actually did that, because it's not a synth I know very well. I'm much more familiar with this old boy, and I'm a big fan of the right octaves. I'm a big fan of this synthesizer. It might prefer to be in monophonic. I have to stop altogether. Now, obviously, we've gone from something that's maybe trying to sound a bit rootsy, to sounding quite wobby, which is more of a steppers thing, I guess. But, you know, I've got no allegiance to anything. I like rockers, but, you know, what do I know? Cockalled about anything. But it will add to, because I recorded the resynth in that one there, so I don't know. It's probably potentially there's people that would watch this and go, "What are you doing? You're just adding loads of horror." It's like, well, you know, what am I doing? I'm just creatively mucking about. Yeah, so, you know, I believe I was talking when I started this recording and was talking about how, you know, I'm using the test in it. So that's given me, you know, a couple of things on it that I just suddenly lose the reverb there for no reason at all and carry on with it. And there's too much reverb on there, you know. You can be critical as much as you want. and you should be, because Richard Hamilton used to run Purple Studios, was, he would go on about things like, if you muck it up, start again and do it. Get that perfect take, 'cause there's only one chance to do it. Obviously that's not true in an environment like this, but you still want to be like, look, if it's not right, fix it. Don't move on to something else, and then you'll never get the right, never chance to do it, never get the chance to do it again, or, it depends on your workflow and it depends on what you're doing, really. I use a lot of analog stuff and re-record stuff because I like the warmth and I like the sound that you get from. I like the fact that you can make a new sound every time if you want to. It makes the recording things harder, doing it all outside the box. But I don't have the same concerns that other people have at the moment. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, ostensibly I decided to start streaming today to create a new piece of music, and technically I've done that because I started out with nothing on the timeline at 8 o'clock this evening, and now a couple of hours in I've got something that sounds really familiar to loads of people, so I haven't written any new music at all whatsoever. I mean, I have, if I haven't recorded it in the same key that it was recorded in, the tune I'm remembering, which obviously haven't even looked up, but it's one of many reggae tunes that's just indelibly etched into my brain from years of listening to reggae and going to reggae dances. So see that bass synth, it sort of doesn't do sounds so rubbish on its own. It doesn't do what it does on its own to the same way it does what it seems to do when everything's in there. It kind of, when you've spent a lot of time listening to loud bass music in empty venues, for sound check and whatnot, you get used to a certain kind of what I'd refer to as an envelope, the way that the sound develops over time, and that kind of, it pushes each note, forward, and it does something that I like, and it's very forgiving for the fact that it was tracked quickly and arguably inaccurately. And I haven't put any extra percussion on there. I haven't done any organs, but I was just thinking this one here, if it is this one here, that's the guitar amp on. That needs gating, really. There's loads of open strings on there. That sounds quite organy though, so I've managed to get some of the sounds of organs kind of without using any. But yeah, as you sort of introduce back more of the tracks that you mixed the first time, you lose some of that. You lose some of the stuff you recorded first time round. Record it again. And yeah, again, because you've got because you've got it tracked in MIDI land. If I just solo the drums for a second. And subtle, because I haven't gone very far on it, but I've changed the drum kit. I think number 5 is the most. So there you go. So that kit sounds quite rootsy actually. Oh, it stopped. Why did it stop? Oh, stopped because it meant to. Yeah, well, obviously, as you can tell, this shit is hilarious fun, and I have every intention of doing more videos. If you think they're any good, well, I think they're fun because anybody watching this video has any questions about what I'm doing whilst my back's being turned. It would have been more obvious if my camera had worked, but sod it, it's real. That's what it is. I'll answer questions in huge amounts of detail, or I can try and be concise, if it helps. But strictly for money, yeah. Okay, I'm going to end it soon, because, without trying to get all serious and go all like Jar Warrior on your arse. Because that's... Oh yeah. Oh yeah. See, that's my conviction. I think that how you get that raw, horrible, scary bassline sound is by not being too scared of doing the one thing they tell you never to do. So I'm going to try now, and if it all goes wrong, then that's just proof of concept that you shouldn't have ever done it. Go and try and do this without all of that ridiculous dub in the background, ruining my chances of hearing what I'm doing. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't sound that great, does it? Oh, now that's just distortion, hey. Yep. There you go. That's the level that will destroy a row of scoops, no matter how hard you try. Well, you know, you can trust me to push it to that point where no one's comfortable. I'm known for that. That's just how it works in my head sometimes. Sorry. I think you might agree that I just don't have the skill on the desk to do anything that sounds anywhere near what Jar Warrior were capable of. Before I even knew about any of this stuff, they'd already done it all 3 times. But you know, doesn't mean I can't join in. It's open for everyone. With some caveats. Anyway, I'm rambling now. I've made my points, and now I'm just mucking about with the desk. Now, obviously, again, another caveat on this is that really, I don't have. I do have my. I mean, you know, trust me. What I'm looking at is loads more fun than what you're looking at. And I'm relying on the fact that you're probably enjoying the sound of things more than the visuals here, but. Huge amounts of fun. I had a point, but I lost it. I've got to be honest. Be here for days though, just knocking about with this. yeah, obviously you can change the drum kits afterwards, a little bit, add loads of stuff, do loads of things, have loads of fun, make loads of dub, make the world a better place. Make any music you want, make the world a better place, because it does that. Right, that's enough for this. I said I'd make a tune. I made you a tune. We've had our technical difficulties, but we did it. Fade to black. Stop streaming, my father.